Well, there is no doubt many Canadians feel a sense of nostalgia and sadness that the iconic Canadian retail store is closing down. Not all people in this country feel the same way. For more on that, let's bring in Chattis Leo, who's been following this part of the story. Chattis, what were you hearing today?
Yes, April, there is no doubt a huge sense of nostalgia for the Hudson Bay Company, but for many Indigenous communities, there's also a sense of relief. That's because of the complicated history between Hudson's Bay and the communities it traded with. For Indigenous communities across Canada, the arrival of the Hudson Bay Company resulted in many changes, some good and some bad. One of the biggest issues for Indigenous communities was the displacement and loss of land. The establishment of a trading post also gave Indigenous communities easier access to alcohol. Also, many Indigenous men were hired for positions that were intense and underpaid, often jobs European workers refused to do. And there were cultural disruptions as well, the spread of disease that wiped out large portions of Indigenous populations.
Yes, some people are sad to see it go, but also there's quite a big number of people that are not sad to let it go. It is still talked about nowadays about the blankets, the Hudson's Bay blankets, and how it brought the smallpox.
Europeans had exposure and contact with many diseases like measles, influenza, and ultimately smallpox. And so those diseases happened to travel on European ships. And when, from time to time, contact with that outside European world broke into Fort Victoria and spread out into the First Nations community. So there were several epidemics that had devastating consequences for the local First Nations.
Phelps says one of the most controversial moments in the company's history was when it was accused of biological warfare by distributing smallpox-infected blankets within First Nations during the 1700s and 1800s. The company has always denied these allegations. So while many customers are sad to see Canada's oldest retailer go, it is important to note there was a dark chapter to this company and a past that hasn't been forgotten. April.
Important to be reminded, that's for sure. All right, Chattis, thank you. Chattis Leo reporting in studio for us tonight.